Hi, I'm Merryl and this is my mystery school. And here we are at 2022 in the middle of a massive transformation. So we'll have a look using some astrology and some tarot about what we might expect for the next 12 months. So I'll start off with a general read, just an overview of the whole next 12 months. And then I'll move through into the different areas and also one for each sign. So each of your zodiac signs will have a look about what 2022 might bring in for you. I'll also use my gorgeous Orion's Tarot deck by Ambison to draw, and look at these cards. They're just gorgeous. So we'll use one of these as a signifier for 2022. They've been well shuffled. Let's see what we get. Signifier for 2022, Six of Pentacles. This is about restoring balance. It's about having equal access. And where there's more care taken for the vulnerable, this is the balancing act of making sure those who haven't got enough have enough. And those who've got plenty to give learn how to share it. When this one is out of balance, it means there's always someone with their hand out. And it creates that imbalance of master and servitude. So that's an interesting start to 2022. Got Three of Pentacles, Prince of Wands, Five of Swords, Princess of Cups, and this is the central card, the Death card, followed by the Devil. Ten of Swords, Ten of Cups, Six of Pentacles, so the same card we have here. Our central card is the Death card, and according to the astrology, while Pluto is still in Capricorn, we're still undergoing that massive transformation and the endings of those Capricorn pillars of society, money, status, authority, rules. All of it's been going through a transformation, a death. So the Death card in the centre, signifying this year, is telling us there's a real closure. And it looks like we're going to be facing a lot of this underworld issues and really putting them to the end. To have the Death card and the Ten of Swords in the same reading is making big endings. So it's not to be afraid of this, it's to welcome and embrace the change. It's pretty chunky cards. Straight up, it doesn't look like an easy year, but it looks like a truthful year. And I'm very heartened that we get this matching Six of Pentacles here at the end, which to me says this death and transformation, this pain, the Devil over here indicating the subversion of what we know as normal, the hidden underbelly, the places we were chained. And this is what will come under scrutiny, because ultimately 2022 is about fixing the balance of what's been unbalanced. In that law of the jungle, which says survival of the fittest, the Six of Pentacles to me offers the alternative, that you're only as strong as your weakest link. And by protecting and giving offerings to those who are more vulnerable and more at risk, you elevate everyone as a whole. We start the year with the Three of Pentacles. And this is about collaboration and getting work done. It fits into my picture that we're about halfway through our pandemic cycle, and 2022 is our third year. I've also used this card for vaccine work mandates and having the documentation you need to travel, vaccine passports, that sort of thing. So we're starting the year with a question about who had the authority and needing very much to have that documentation to move forward. The Prince of Wands is next, and this says that new information is coming through And there's also new optimism. But he also gets kind of blows things up a bit out of proportion and doesn't necessarily have stamina. There may be some hopeful news that's coming and some feeling of forward movement in that first section of the year. And if we look down this line, that forward movement, we've got the Ten of Cups down here next to the Ten of Swords. We've got something like a story of a very painful death that challenges or opens up to what we want for happiness. The Ten of Cups can be seen as that traditional family values and the community, the way we come together in happiness, the way we come together to share our good fortune. So I wouldn't like to say it's the end of that ability to share what you have when we have so much abundance. But there is a shift between those, the enthusiasm and even recklessness and travel. There's an end to that and coming more into serving your community. The Five of Swords up here with the Devil underneath it, that's yucky. This is like corruption. This is really selfish, self-serving behaviour. This is the win at all cost card. I call it the Scorpio card because everyone gets hurt in it. There's harmful words, there's verbal abuse, and it's going to be shown up. 2022, there'll be revelations about this where behaviour and work contracts and the way the message got spread, there'll be revelations coming up around the underbelly supporting that division and verbal attacks and the way the message got twisted. The Five of Swords is a nasty card with the Devil underneath it and then the Six of Pentacles here. I'm seeing this little journey showing exposure. There's corruption that comes up under this line. How the vulnerable were preyed on and how others profiteered from it. The Princess of Cups as we move through under the Three of Pentacles and this Three of Pentacles ending down in the Ten of Swords. I would wonder if vaccine mandates and any of that regulation around health status, I wonder if in 2022 that also comes to an end. And there's a different approach to how this documentation is required or ordered or regulated. The Princess of Cups is bringing in a hopeful message. And I think it's going to support this revelation that shows a massive division for those who were left vulnerable. And if I'm looking at the Death card as being pretty much the centre of the year, so the end of June, beginning of July, that looks like when this turning point is happening. The first half of the year has got a lot more enthusiasm and movement than the second half of the year, which looks like we're dealing with some big aftermath here. I also get the feeling with this Princess of Cups, because she connects up here to the Prince of Wands, which is new information, movement and enthusiasm. And I wonder if there's some watering down of that by the end of or by mid-year. And honestly, there may even be a new variant. Princess of Cups is really creative and flowing. She may represent aspects of the health system. And with the Three of Pentacles above, it's the agreements and regulations that are made to preserve the health system. But with the Ten of Swords beneath, if this is health system, it looks like by the end of the year there's a bit of a crisis. And our greatest hope comes with connecting into family groups and connecting into community. Not in the way that this one splits and divides, but with a genuine concern to share and equalise what has got really out of balance here. But I would be thinking that mid-year through to maybe October, so July, August, September, October, there just looks like a lot of disappointment and feeling ripped off. There may even be a period where we have to go back into lockdowns. And I'm doing this in January, and there's already parts of Europe that are looking to go back into lockdown from Omicron. But I'd say that November, December, things lighten up again. So it's getting through that crunchy time in the middle. The main themes we have are this redistribution of wealth and access. And that's why I think these ones come through. But it needs such a big turnaround to get there. The manipulators and the people making profit out of other people's hardship, the ones who use their words as weapons, that's going to be a big feature of 2022, of exposing and hopefully bringing an end to that with this feeling of enthusiasm and community that springs from it, and an awareness of that power imbalance. There's almost a feeling of expansion and territories being tested or compromised. So some parts of the world, there may be a real shift and redistribution of borders. As far as the virus spreading, I've got to be honest, these aren't great cards. They're significant ending, like really significant endings. Death, 10 of Swords, 10 of Cups. At least this is showing the regrowth and what this whole transformation is digging out. Even the movement that we start off 2022 with, the idea of movement and travel, it still seems to fall on its ass. We got a little way to go. So what I'm going to look at now is, I'll do cards in the 12 astrological houses, and we'll have a look at what 2022 means for the different areas of life. So we start off here, the place of the self, how 2022 affects you personally, and it's the 10 of Pentacles. On a personal level, 2022 is about challenging and tackling and repairing generational and family patterns. As far as resources go, look at this. Money, money. This looks to me like a lot of people are looking at buying and selling, about getting their business back off the ground, about looking for an economic stability. We know that Uranus is still here in Taurus, and the North Node is also moving through Taurus. So I'm thinking there's big change in the use of actual currency, potentially in Bitcoin, in the way we invest and what we take out of the ground. On a personal level, you might be looking at buying and selling larger resources and wanting to get ahead with a business idea, becoming your own boss, spending your superannuation. The next card here is about community, learning, school, and even brothers and sisters. It shows in community there's an evaluation, still waiting time, and this might mean restrictions of movement, and even evaluating what can come in and out of your community. So some people might find themselves still not wanting to go outside and mix in public. And this theme of getting your money together, getting your stability, getting your resources right, it's people assessing what they can do and maybe what they can sell off. This next card represents home and family. And look at that. 7 of Swords is the sneaking around card. So on a personal level, there may be businesses started up at home. This might be work from home. And it might be people losing their home even. This looks like buying and selling, but there may even be that decision gets forced because there's payments that haven't been made and haven't been met. This card is tricky for who or what you have coming through your home. And again, I have used this one as a lockdown card, but it indicates to me that what you do in your own home is pretty much your own business. It's not connected with this sense of authority or even responsibility. The next card is about self-expression. Look, they're all pentacles. So the self-expression, again, I've got this feeling that you'll be spending a bit more time at home in your own neighborhood, in your own small surroundings. and people wanting to express themselves more through the way they earn money, the way they work, the way they look after their health. There's a feeling of wanting to get out. I feel like this one often, for me, sometimes this is about being on stage. All the cultural experiences that we've missed out over the last couple of years. And this feels like wanting to get out there and get those public performances happening. But there's still a bit of a cloud over how they get back, and still a bit of evolvement and assessment as to how to do that. The influence of the North Node being in Earth sign Taurus is already showing up in this part of the reading. So far, and we're nearly halfway through, but so far we haven't seen technology or media or social media showing in this reading. It's much more about getting back to your own personal responsibility of your health and your finances and your resources. This next one is about work. This is, again, working from home. It's about people leaving large corporations to work independently. It's about starting up your own thing and working in isolation. This card, which is the 6th house, will also show us around health. And I would say there's more investigation, more news coming out, more research, more testing, more answers coming forward. And I would say that those answers are going to be kind of hopeful. There's no doubt that there's isolation on a daily level and on a daily routine. So I guess from these cards, I'm saying 2022 is still a time when we're not necessarily out in public travelling, when we're confined into our own spaces. This next card is about relationships. And this is my COVID card because this veil at the top has got all the little spike proteins poking out. So as far as relationships go, you'll be questioning your key relationships and questioning what is meaningful and important to you. If you've had fantasy, there's a reality that's coming through. It's also family patterns that affected your relationship will become more visible. One thing in relationships, you're not necessarily going to know who or what you want or where you want to direct your energy to. I'm going to go with that's because the astrology has not fully moved through this pandemic phase, and we still can't quite see what we want at the other side of this in that new normal. But clearly, if we look at the 1st house over to the 7th house, this more traditional backing, we are questioning what that really offers us and if that really serves our deepest needs. The next card, the 8th house, there's our Knight of Wands that showed in the previous read. The 8th house is that big house of birth, death, life, regeneration, the occult, the mystery, endings and beginnings. And because this guy showed up in the other read, I'm almost going to think it's around social media and impetuous sharing of messages and immaturity in sharing of messages. So there's some clarity that's coming forward that for the past couple of years we've missed the point somehow, where the message got really skewed. There's a lot more energy now, and this big 8th house of life and death and birth and new beginnings might start with, again, a movement or the selling of property, moving your neighbourhood and wanting to bring about that change. It might mean that there's big exposure to the way messages have been delivered. It might mean that there's more revelation and more truth coming out. For some, it could mean the end and the death, the feeling of movement with this isolation and evaluation holding you down into a space. The hope that you might be able to travel and cross borders might be something you have to rethink. We also want to know that this house, the 8th house, is where the South Node will be. And this will be a place of purging. The Knight of Wands always just wants to jump in and have a good time without necessarily thinking of consequence. But the consequence of being rash or impetuous or rebellious looks like there's an underside that will have a cleansing and a purging. And that underside comes with the way it's been funded. The next position is the 9th house, which is the house of travel and expansion. And we've got the High Priestess. So that again is showing us there's not going to be this wild movement and travel happening. The High Priestess doesn't move from where she is. She has an inward journey. So there's a massive transformation about the way we develop our inner resources. This also looks to me that it's online learning, still going to be online learning because schools aren't really able to open up. And hopefully a lot more people getting into the mystical self-resilience that the High Priestess offers, that she holds the secrets. And there are secrets out there in the 9th house, which means the way belief systems are formed, the way religion is guided, the way the law courts and justice is delivered. There are secrets being held there, and the High Priestess is showing we start to clock on to what that's about. The 10th house is the house of your public position. That is fantastic. King of Wands. It's also about business and the world of work, the world of status. So for many, I think there's an echo here of many people starting up their own business, being entrepreneurial, and also a shift to looking for good leadership. We hadn't seen the social media thing really happening down in this lower part of this read, but we've got it forming up now. So one of the things that will become important in 2022 is how you deliver the message. How inspired and imaginative you can be, and yet still hold a place of integrity, vision, generosity, and a social responsibility. Unfortunately, this one is opposite our sneaking around card. So there may be revelations coming out about how some of this leadership and the way the message was delivered didn't really fulfill its obligations and didn't fulfill its truth. This looks like a battle of truth. And what's being put out there in the big picture and the messaging is not what people are going to be doing at home. People are going to be doing their own thing. And it's like a disregard of that voice of authority. However, if you're looking for a new career, and potentially that is a career in communications or energy or alternative forms of energy, these two are really showing you can get something happening. And maybe that means there's going to be a lot more vision and a lot more research and opening for things like alternative energy. We also want to remember that Pluto is still in Capricorn, and so Pluto is still in this position up here. Our next card is the 11th house, and this is the house of technology and wishes and how you connect to your community. So I have to say the 4 of Swords is again one of those cards of pulling back, of having to reconsider, of having to isolate yourself and recover. And I can't say that that's a good sign for thinking COVID and the pandemic is over and done with. These cards just aren't showing that. There's a transition phase in 2022 between knowing what you have, knowing what you want, or not knowing what you want actually, not sure what you want, and having a bit of time out. This I would say is 3 to 4 months of having time out to go back and recollect yourself. It is that 1 step forward, 2 step back. This card is also a card that can show illness and recovery from illness. And it's really saying there's illness amongst the community, taking a break from community, needing to reassess who your community is. And we know that Saturn will be in Aquarius, reassessing those rules and regulations and our sense of duty and purpose to what we put out there in the community. If you are looking at studying meditation or alternative therapies, online learning of esoteric topics, these 2 cards say that 2022 is a really good year for that. These 2 are great for meditation. And I'd really encourage that. Manifest what you want. It links down here. Our last house, the 12th house, is the mysterious House of Veils. The house that deals with mystery, with institutions, with ancestors, and essentially with where you suffer a loss. And we're going to have Neptune and Jupiter in this place. The Page of Swords is called the spy in the camp. It's about whistleblowers. He's got such a rebellious, unstoppable, relentless kind of energetic force. It's youthful. I actually call this the teenage boy card, teenage boy energy, because it just loves to whip everything up into a frenzy, cut through red tape. With that Page of Swords sitting opposite the Hermit in the 6th house, potentially this is around work and wanting to start up something independent, something where you can move in and out using your expertise as it's required. Oh, I've just seen also, here's another card for meditation on a daily level. Seriously, if you're thinking of taking up yoga or a meditation or a mind-body exercise, 2022 is the way to go for it, really. But back to our Page of Swords. Here's the whistleblower, the one that speaks the secrets. We know the secrets are up here in this house of our social and cultural networks. And with the 12th house, that House of Veils, the whistleblowing will come up from what's going on behind the scenes and the way big institutions are run. The health system, the welfare system, they're the places that fit in to the 12th house. And it's going to need a shake-up in that area in 2022. This looks to me that on a personal level, there'll be a lot of questioning around what you want for your spiritual overview, the way things make you happy. And I know over here everyone's questioning their relationships, and Corona has been part of that. But here we want, how can I make a difference? How can I get things moving? How can I have that youthful teenage energy that cuts through red tape and makes a difference? If you have teenage children, this might also mean dealing with rebellion and frustration and even mental health issues from feeling isolated on a daily level. There's increasing frustration in how we connect with others. From this, I would be saying that 2022 is a time of really shoring up your financials and really shoring up the most solid foundational people, the people that you connect with, your soul sisters and brothers, as well as your blood family, and questioning what it is that you really want out of all of that. It also looks overall, it is an awesome year to practice meditation or yoga or go to alternative forms of healing, because we've got 3 indicators there. And I would say it's a year to have patience. Secrets are still being held. This is not a card for external movement in the 9th house. This is the card of internal movement and internal journeys, armchair travel. A positive thing I really like is the King of Wands up here, meaning there's more confidence to develop an inspired vision. Though I have to say, this one might be the fall of a significant leader, because how they look on the outside is very different to what's going on behind the scenes. So that's kind of interesting. Because I'm using this as a multi-layered reading, I'm also looking at this one being Aries. And Chiron's in Aries. Aries, it looks to me like what's going on at home and how you find that stability, how you connect to family is the big story for you in 2022. You have Chiron in your sign for some time, and this is bringing out a real soul journey. There's a soul lesson that Aries are going through. It's painful, but it really hones your wisdom. One of the best things you can do is establish where and how you live and who you call your inner circle. You're questioning relationships, and your 2022 will mean you make decisions about what you call home, about who you surround yourself with and who you let go. For a spirit guide to guide you, you have the butterfly. A beautiful card. You are in transformation, Aries, and there's real vulnerability about how you want to fly and lift. If we look about how light and lovely the butterfly is compared to the heaviness and the responsibility that you feel burdened with, Your guide is to watch out for the butterfly. You're in this moment of change. You are transforming from one complete unconscious part to another very, very conscious, light, magical version of yourself. That's a beautiful message for you, Aries. I'm very pleased for you for that. I don't know if these all fit, so we'll do this. Taurus. One of your central cards is the King of Pentacles. So you're going to be looking at work, money, status, luxury, and learning what is and isn't sustainable for you, including potentially looking at your body and how you feel about your body, how you feel about your weight, and maybe even using your body as a resource. Doing work that's very hands-on or manual, knowing that you have to throw yourself into building up your own resources. You have Uranus and the North Node in your sign, and this means you're going through a massive change. If we look across to the Knight of Wands in the 10th house, you might be looking at speculating, trying your hand at bringing money and resources in through unusual means, maybe even working online. Your animal spirit guide, Taurus, is the mouse. And the mouse is about getting into the fine detail, getting scrutiny, being able to get right up close to things and get the detail right. If you are looking at speculating, you could be drawn in by enthusiastic words, but the mouse is saying all year you need to literally look at the fine print and really have a lot of scrutiny. The mouse is that little creature that is so resourceful, but we don't want your investments being eaten away and diminished. We don't want you frittering away what you've earned and what you've built up. And I think that's the danger here. This part is about purging what is no longer necessary. So keep your eyes on that detail, Taurus. Learn to live really resourcefully, and that way you'll thrive. Gemini is in the 3rd house. And I forgot to put out Taurus. There you are, Taurus. Gemini, you've also got an evaluation year. You've just had 18 months of the North Node being in your sign. And by now, you should have really stepped up a level. And here you are in 2020, looking at how much more you can grow and knowing there's a bit of work to do and not quite sure if you want to do the work. That's a very Geminian kind of a trait. Geminis might be feeling a bit of this stop-start because as you want to grow more into mystery. You want to grow more into a non-physical contact, a non-physical way of connecting with people, or connecting with people who really are on board with your spirituality. So Geminis for 2022, it's about gathering up your resources and trying not to procrastinate and rest on your laurels. Although you're very psychic, Gemini, there are secrets that will be coming forward and more mystery is unraveling. And 2022, you're asked to be prepared and have an evaluation of how much you want to give and what needs to be kept private, how you want to grow. And it's an internal growth for you, Gemini. It might look like you're not moving anywhere, but the growth is all happening on the inner level. Your animal card to guide you is the armadillo. And that's the card of protection. The armadillo asks you to draw up boundaries. Be very clear about what you allow into your life and what you want to clear out. This is what the evaluation is about. The armadillo has that lovely soft squishy center, and this is its vulnerable side. So Geminis, you need to learn how to put a boundary, and a healthy boundary, so you're not open to every mysterious question and conspiracies and fantasies that might lead you in a different direction. It is definitely a time to shore up what you have and prepare yourself for what you want in the future. Cancer, you have got the 7 of Swords as your card here, and that puts you in a position of having to be a little bit sneaky to get around. Keep your cards close to your chest. Be very aware if someone is mentally attacking you or draining you. Be very aware where your energy might be leaking, or where you might be exposing yourself to danger. And this danger might come, King of Wands, it might come through a very enigmatic, charismatic, imaginative, clever speaker. It may come through a public announcement. It may come through social media in some way. You want to be very, very careful that you're keeping things close to your chest. Don't give everything away, Cancer. Learn how to go back in your shell and protect yourself. I think for Cancer also, you need to protect your cybersecurity and even your home, because this is the 4th house, the place of home. Get your fences up. Get your webcam on the front door. The animal card for you is the hawk. Fantastic card. The hawk is the one, is also about messages, so we want to be careful of this guy. The hawk is the bird that flies high and sees everything. The hawk is asking you to look up. Look up. Look at what's there. Don't get in a position where you start telling other people how to think and behave. It will come back on you. And if you need to sneak around a little bit to hide yourself from others' judgment, do it. Have the observation. Fly up high and see the big picture. The hawk is the way we receive messages. And Cancer, 2022 for you is about wanting to be noticed for the right message. Leo, this is your position, and your card is the 9 of Pentacles. Wanting to express yourself but feeling a bit stifled to do it. Learning how to be content with what you have, and actually seeing the amazing amount of abundance and skill and goodwill that you have around you. Something's very frustrating for Leos over 2022. And one thing will be because Saturn is opposite in your sign. And it means there's outside restrictions, rules and regulations that are making you feel stifled. You also have the nodes and Uranus squaring your sign. So 2022 is a time of adjusting your internal compass, your internal direction in the face of change. Because it's a 9 of Pentacles, I think you'll do this year just fine. You'll work it out. Don't extend yourself because there's this chance you could overwhelm. And if anything, you might have to learn part of this Saturnian restriction is knowing when to pull back, when to stay silent, when to step back and heal and let things evolve. I would think around the 3rd to the 4th month, so we've got March to April, is probably one of the most difficult times of the year for you. And we'll have a look at who can guide you through that. We've got the skunk. Don't be afraid of the skunk. The skunk has reputation. Leo, you're going to be using your reputation. You don't have to say it. You don't have to throw your weight around. You don't have to create judgment and try to boss everyone around. Just you being Royal Leo is enough to know that your message gets heard. The skunk is a really soft, cute little creature, and it would only spray its stinky scent if it was really trapped and cornered. So Leo, I think something's on the nose for you over 2022. But your learning is going to be how to stay silent and use your reputation to work your way through conflict. And if your reputation is a scary, mean old lion, then that's what you've got to work with. But if your reputation shows integrity and wisdom and being really grateful for what you have, then that's all you need to do. It's going to be a very interesting year for Leos. Virgo, you've got the Hermit card. And that's really comfortable for you. This is about you knowing that you've done service, that you're doing the right thing, that you're quietly going about your business and following your own light. And it is a time of wisdom and learning and service. Your challenge is you've got Neptune and Jupiter opposite. And these aren't bad challenges. They're really good challenges. It means something outside of you is ready to expand and be beneficial and lovely and magical, imaginative, and even rattle up your comfort zone. Your year, Virgo, is about honing your skills and coming into your own wisdom. Potentially it's a bit more of an isolating year for you compared to what you've had the last few years. There's a rebellion happening outside of you, and it's forcing you to really look at what you want and the path you want to follow for your own reasons and under your own light. The animal working with you is the lynx. And the lynx is a silent animal, working with the hermit really well. The lynx is a holder of secrets. You don't see a lynx attack you. It comes up from behind and just takes you out. Your animal wisdom is to sit there silently, bide your time, give people enough rope, and the rebellious and immature ones will reveal themselves. And then you can act wisely. Also, Virgo, if you're interested in doing a kind of a shamanic journey, the lynx is an excellent medicine card for you. Looking for a guide or a teacher, someone that opens the way to these mysteries, and they become an incredibly powerful protection for you. This seriously might be you working on manifestation and magic and learning how to protect yourself energetically. Because the lynx is saying there's secrets all around, you are really, really called to follow this intuition and trust your own guide, to be able to see through and see through in the dark. You've had Neptune opposite you for some time, Virgos. And it means that when you've been reaching out and trying to grasp something, it will slip through your fingers. But now the secrets of that are starting to take shape. And the mystery that all of this, these delays we're having are starting to have their meaning. And over 2022, I think you'll come out with some amazing, wise wisdom and knowledge. Libra. You've had Chiron opposite you and Pluto square, meaning you've faced a bunch of challenges and a bunch of hardships and a bunch of blocks. You also have Saturn supporting you. And Libra is really comfortable with Saturn. It likes the idea of rules and regulations to resolve conflict. It helps with courtesy and manners. Your 2022 is about making choices. And about making choices that serve who you truly are, because things have changed. Over here in Aries, with the signifier being the Ten of Pentacles and the butterfly, there's change around your natural security, your natural go-to place to get your needs for a relationship met. Now you're not sure what you want because you're changing. Some relationships bring out your best and some seem to just drain you of energy. The animal card to guide you, Librans, is the Dragonfly. And this is very, very similar to our Eight of Cups. Both of them deal with mystery and transformation, and where the dragonfly was once a dragon and a feared and scary creature blowing fire and fumes everywhere, over mystery and over time, he transformed into a dragonfly. It's the card of illusion, and so is this. So Librans, what I think is going on for you for 2022 is bravely facing what was difficult to see. With Chiron here and Pluto here, there's an illusion buster. And with Saturn leading the way to actually guide you in a helpful Saturnian way, to give you discipline, to give you realistic expectations. This 2022 looks like an illusion buster. And I imagine, although it'll be a painful aspect of your year, Librans, the freedom that comes out when you break through will really give you the security that you need. And the illusion might be about family stories or family patterns, generational things. It might be an illusion about the way you've been using money, or an illusion around the way your partner gives you protection and support. You're just not sure it works for you anymore. The dragonfly says that there's change moving through. And I think as a totem for you, Librans, the dragonfly, remember, is the one that flies across the top of the water. It doesn't sink down into the emotions. It can skim over the top of them. And I think that's going to be one of the great things you do this year, Librans. Learn how to skim over the top of all illusion and the top of all the emotion and the emotional drama. Scorpio, you have the South Node in your sign, and this is a massive purge. You'll be clearing out all the places that got you stuck, that got you held, that got you stubborn. You'll be clearing out where you've clung on to dead-end relationships. You'll be clearing out where you've held old revenge stories. The Knight of Wands in your sign is showing you lightening the load, getting rid of the baggage. And you have Uranus and the North Node opposite your sign, and it's pulling you to step out of that watery depth and pain and suffering into a much lighter, more playful, more youthful way of being. Scorpio, you also have Saturn squaring your sign, and this is meaning there's authority issues that you need to deal with, that you need to address. At the same time, you've got Jupiter and Neptune trining your sign, and this gives that lovely flow and maybe even good news or expansion in a creative or a loving or a gentle way. One thing that might be happening for you is conversations with this teenage boy energy. So Scorpio, if you do have teenagers around you or teenage children, there's a lot more harmony that's going to come on through 2022. Though it might mean literally leaving home in some way, letting go of something in an energetic and enthusiastic way with a little bit of bolshiness behind it as you regenerate in a new space. Your animal healing card is the turkey. And turkey is the giveaway. Turkey is the one that has generosity and abundance and heals the rift between things. Turkey means that there's gifts coming your way, and also you should share freely with those gifts and with any good fortune. This comes back to our Six of Pentacles theme for the whole year. Scorpios, you look pretty lucky in this. But so be generous. Clear out the old revenge. Be useful and productive. Don't make a turkey of yourself. The gift here is the gift of regeneration. Of when you let something go, something new will really come through. And that's also because the South Node is in your sign. First time in 18, 19 years. And you might even look back, what was going on 19 years ago? We're back in a similar level, in a new spiral of that place. But this is really bountiful, Scorpio. This is being able to make use of your resources. And in the 8th house, Turkey in this position could mean other people's resources coming to you. So an inheritance, a bonus, a payout, a compensation, something is coming your way. And the gift is not just material. If anything, it's a gift of leisure time and fun and romance and spirited, happy banter. Lucky you, Scorpio. This is the best one so far. Forgot to put my markers down. So this one is for Virgo and this one is for Libra. Here we go. We're up to Sag. And your card is the High Priestess. Sagittarius, this is that inward journey. Like Gemini over here, you've recently had the South Node in your sign. So you've had 18 months of clearing things out and getting to a new level of awareness, a new stage, a new chapter, a new landscape. Your year will be around developing the High Priestess, the inner worlds of knowledge and expansion and connection to your intuition. It might be a year where you pull back from outside groups. It might be a year where you just squirrel away at doing your own thing and even discovering new talents or hidden parts of you that haven't been able to shine, potentially for the last 19 years. Your lesson for 2022 is around connecting to the feminine, which is passive and silent and receptive. The High Priestess, very unsaggy, is not someone that goes around telling everyone her opinions. She's the person that holds them close to her chest and lets the truth reveal itself in its own time. Your animal guide is the owl. How perfect is that? The owl is the totem that sees in the dark. It sees everyone else's secrets. And this means that people can sense that you know what's going on with them, and they start projecting their fears onto you. So Sag, this is the year that you're going to learn not to put your foot in your mouth. You're going to learn how to have that information, see in an instant what's going on around you, what's been happening in the dark, who's been keeping secrets, and you're going to keep your mouth shut. Let the truth rise to the surface on its own accord, and it will. There's a lot of growth and wisdom in this pairing, and it's really nice to see the owl here in the 9th house with Sagittarius, because it just creates this picture of a seeker of wisdom and knowledge who is wise enough and mature enough to know that you don't have to be this whistleblower. Really interesting year for you, Sag. The other thing you have is you're going to have the Neptune and Jupiter squaring your sign. And this might make you feel like you missed out on certain things, or things coulda, woulda, shoulda been better for you. But the inner growth is what's happening, and I really like the way this 2022 is panning out for you. Capricorn, you're showing here as the King of Wands, and you have Pluto in your sign, only for a couple more years. If you're born right on the cusp of that Capricorn Aquarius part, this is big transformation for you. A lot of letting go, and the new generation, the new life already beginning. Capricorn, your energy is around the King of Wands. It's about having the leadership to get yourself out and choose a path and communicate it really, really well. For some of you, it might involve writing or speaking or podcasting or social mediaing. And it's about becoming a leader and having integrity with your own vision. Capricorns have Uranus helping you through those changes. And even though it's been, a rocky road with this one for everyone, Capricorns have seemed to be able to capitalize on this Uranian outbreak of change. You'll also have the nodes trining your sign, and again it's this idea that there'll be gifts, there'll be acknowledgement, there'll be helpers along the way helping you develop this broader vision, bigger plan, a further reach for you as far as your audience or your respect and your reputation. The animal guiding you is the weasel. I love the weasel. I often get weasel. It's good to know, because down here opposite you, Capricorn, you've got the sneaking around card. Something outside of you is not making sense, is not adding up, and you've got your eyes fully on it. If something's not adding up to you, Capricorn, you will act swiftly and decisively, and the information you get will be very clear. And that's because weasel is the animal that uses stealth, and it will never sugarcoat the result. Weasels have that reputation of being really wily and sneaky, and a bit like this card. But rather than using that wiliness for manipulation, the weasel uses it for hardcore truth. If you see something not adding up, you'll see it in a really undeniable way. So it's quite different to what's going on for the Sag, where they're invited to be silent and passive and wait for the truth to emerge. For Capricorns, you'll see what's going on. You'll know what's going on. And if someone asks you to give the truth, you will give a truthful answer. And it will expose anything that's not acting in integrity. Capricorns use stealth, like the weasel. Cover yourself in a luxurious outer garment, but inside you know exactly who's doing what to who and why they're doing it. If someone's sneaky, you'll act. There's our Capricorn. Aquarius. Your card is the Four of Swords, and it's a year of recovery for you. You've got Saturn in your sign, making you face up to certain realities. And it's not the time to push ahead. This card is saying you need to sit back and wait. And it might be, I'm predicting in March, April, in the 3rd to 4th month, there'll be decisions that you need to consider. And maybe something you need to let go of. There's a lot of change and preparation for Aquarians over 2022. You have Uranus and the nodes square your sign, meaning there's decisions and change and a tipping point in different places of the year. And that's why you'll need to choose your actions and your words and organise your thoughts in a very careful and considered way. This is not the time to be reckless. It's not really the time to be moving forward, Aquarius. It's the time to prepare and resolve and set a solid foundation. Your card, your animal card, is the ant. It's about getting strategic. The ant is the little worker who works with others in the community to build up a better system. The ant is so much stronger than what it looks, than what it appears. It can lift mountains. And a bit like our Taurus, who's got the mouse, it's the detail, just picking away at things, and you will eventually build what you need to build. You're sitting opposite Leo with the Nine of Pentacles. This feeling of contentment, I've got it all, there's abundance, everything I need. Why aren't I satisfied? That's what's sitting outside of you, calling you. So the ant says, put the work in, set the trap. Ants are always tackling a bigger predator than themselves. So don't bite off more than you can chew, but get yourself busy and do the prep. Small changes will make a big impact. And if you're strategic, and potentially if you collaborate with others, you can build something meaningful in the future. Pisces, you're going to have Jupiter in your sign for the first part of the year, or up until May. Jupiter's going to move into Aries, and then it'll move back into Pisces later on. So it's a bit stop, start, chop, change for you, a feeling of wonderful uplifting, expansion and benevolence, and amazing things happen. And then having to deal with the changes and having to get real and having to push yourself a little bit hard to get over the hump. You've got the Page of Swords in your sign. And for the year, this means you're going to be rattling the chains and shaking the ground and tackling things that are new to you, having to fight for what you love. Jupiter wants you to expand. And there might be a few little careless steps in the way before you get through this year. It feels like there's a difference of opinion or a conflict with what's going outside in the big picture world for you. And one way you can resolve that down here is the Hermit. Get wise advice. Don't go out on too left field with things. Come back to what makes sense to you, and even connect up with older, wiser people. Older, wiser people can really help you, Pisces, in this stage. Your animal is the antelope. We love the antelope. It's about taking action and taking what you need when you need it. That's why our Page of Swords is there looking out for you. If you need it, you go for it. The antelope is a really fast-moving, strong, communal-minded creature that is very loving and giving. It's always ready to take action, constantly aware of what's going on in the environment, ready to respond to the smallest sound or movement, ready to launch into action. The other thing with the antelope is it's a creature that gives everything of itself. So if people are hungry, the antelope says, take my meat. If people are cold, the antelope says, take my hide. If you need something, Pisces, antelope is saying, go out and get it. It's once in 12 years that Jupiter's in your sign. And with Neptune, there's a bit of magic with it too. Though it could also be illusion and suffering and sacrifice. So don't let yourself be a doormat, Pisces. Speak it, say it, act on it, even if it feels very foreign to you. Activate that teenage energy and go out and get what you want. Overall, the cards today have shown that our big theme is the Six of Pentacles, balancing our relationship with money and the distribution of wealth and resources, using charitable acts and not allowing yourself to be victim, even if you're in need. 2022 is a year of getting equality on a much healthier balance. And that will mean secrets coming out, imbalances of power being further exposed, where there's been dodgy messaging or corruption being shown, and where our relationships haven't been supporting us and we want something more. It's not a year, according to these cards, where we're really moving ahead, but it seems like a time where we're redefining who we are and what we want, and adjusting to the amazing changes that are coming through in terms of how we live, how we communicate, how we want to form society. 2022 is also Year of the Tiger, and it's a year a bit like this one, where we want to jump in and dive and fight for what we believe in, have the strength, and not kill everyone in sight like tigers can often do. The tiger year is where you have to be brave, and sometimes being brave means retreating. So the tiger also has to learn when to be a tiger in the grass and sit and wait and bide your time. Something really hopeful is last year of the tiger, which was 2010. The news was by the next year of the tiger, there wouldn't be any tigers left in the wild. And guess what? There are, and their numbers are increasing. So our message of taking care of the vulnerable, supporting what needs growth, and redistributing power is a big theme for 2022. I'm Merryl, and this is my mystery school. Like, follow, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to know more, or if you'd like to learn tarot, contact me through my website, www.merrylkey.com. Blessed be for all of 2022.